A warm welcome from my side. It's a great pleasure to have such a good group of people, experienced people working for many, many years in the additive environment. It's a pleasure for me to discuss with you some aspects of product development. What are the characteristics of a successful product development when it comes to additive? And you are the customer, Melissa. So please let us know from your experience, what are the characteristics of a successful product development?
What we look for is, really making sure that what we do adds value, getting our teams incorporated into the product development teams so that we can find those situations where additive will add value. And so we're not just looking to optimize parts, but we're looking how we can use additive to optimize the whole product, in our case for Boeing vehicles. So it's not just about making parts, it's about using additives to create a differentiating vehicle.
Having also colleagues here from the hardware manufacturers, what about your role in product development?
So what we actually experienced is that especially the younger engineers, they are quite more familiar with additive manufacturing. And we have now, 4 weeks ago, we had a good example in our development team where without the help of the additive manufacturing team, they designed actually a nozzle for welding of battery packs by their own. And this is for me already an example where I say, yes, now this thinking has arrived actually in the development team at TRUMPF. I also think that there might be also a kind of competition between the engineers. If one has actually developed such a tool in additive manufacturing and everybody is highlighting that, so others also would like to do the same. And I think we will see more and more of this serious part.
So I think the key in AM, so not all applications are for AM, and I think that this is slowly sinking in. We had many examples, and there's one quote that I like to bring always is that if you want to make a milling part by AM, you'll just make it less accurate and more expensive. So it's a complete waste of time. So the key is in really, first of all, having the vision as to where we can apply it in an efficient way, the additive technology, and then of course putting the bricks together in order to design it in a way where it can be efficiently produced in additives.
I think of a successful product development, it's a bit like a stakeholder management. You have these stakeholders from the engineering department, you have these stakeholders from the controlling, you have those stakeholders who are really the shareholders who want to get profit out of it. You have more and more boundary conditions coming from sustainable engineering. And actually, I think of additive as a bracket combining the solution of all those stakeholder interests into a boiled down technology, having the idea how to combine the benefits to successfully fulfill the needs of all those stakeholders from engineering, the use cycle, the production cycle, and therefore I think additive can play an important role.
Stakeholders, Melissa, working in quite a huge company. What are your recommendations for those who start the journey, where to look at in these whole product development?
There may not be a really strong business case yet, right? Because we're doing a lot of testing, we're accumulating that database. And so, we're really working with the teams, the product development, the quality, the purchasing, to educate them and let them know what the return will be and when. And engineers are taught to design with reduced risk. And so they're hesitant to start designing for additive because they don't, we don't have that data. So it's, our homework that we're doing is accumulating that data, not the 2 or 3 decades worth, but, the data that's representative of that and demonstrating that we understand the risk and that we can mitigate it. And then we earn the credibility of the product development teams. So it's really about education right now and, a little bit of asking for patience while we are in this development phase, and the first couple of parts that we put on commercial aircraft, may not be saving tons of money, but they are necessary in our roadmap so that we can iron out these details and that we can collect the data. And then, later there'll be an inflection point when we have that data, and the deep understanding that we've demonstrated.
I'm also pretty sure you have experiences in international product development. What are the learnings in working in these international teams?
If you go for a hardware product to design it, normally you have, as we saw from that example from TRUMPF, we have the fluid design, then you have the structural design, then you have thermodynamics design, and those are really like distributed chambers, and there are Chinese walls in between. And now the issue is to connect those, because you now have a technology that can solve all of those problems, which are currently in a normal environment dealt in a completely different office. And that's an issue.
Maybe to continue on that topic, the rules of design for AM are to a certain extent now being integrated. I think where there's still a step and a gap that needs to be filled out is now design for manufacturing. So how the component that you've designed in AM, how do you then finish this component? Because you cannot clamp it. It's not a cube anymore, so very difficult to handle. How do we bring this into the existing infrastructure of our different companies, and how do we make this now go through the complete process in a streamlined way that is compatible with series manufacturing? No?
What maybe I would like to add on that topic is, when we are talking about designing parts in additive manufacturing, what I'm missing at the moment is actually that we have actually software systems which really can support the engineers in order to think also in additive manufacturing, or to make, for example, let's make some examples and to show the engineer what might be possible and do it with additive manufacturing. Maybe talking about the walls between some departments, we have done an approach where we have now a very small department which is connected to the product construction department, and this is called the innovation workshop. And this innovation workshop is a few people actually, and they are looking into new technologies, and one of them is actually additive manufacturing. So with this help actually, so that engineers from the construction department, design department can come into this innovation workshop where we have machines, so also for post-processing, and also we do the pre-processing there. They can actually make it like a try and buy, right? If this part actually works with additive manufacturing or not, and what might be then the advantages.
On product development, what do you see, what do you want to see going to happen when we meet again in 5 years?
Oh, wow. Well, so in 5 years, I am assuming that we will have passed that inflection point, that we will have earned the credibility of all the stakeholders that says additive is a go-to first solution for manufacturing.
But in the end, I think that we will have still the creativity of the engineers, of the gifted engineers that we need. Of course, we need to educate them. We have to give them a toolbox, but we cannot really educate them in creativity.
In the early 80s, actually, then we see when the engineers were standing in front of the machine, always, the finger on the button and adjusting parameter here and parameter there. Nowadays, using a laser cutting machine, you just press the button and the machine more or less automatically is adjusting itself, even if you have bad material inside. And I think this is, for me, the vision also for additive manufacturing, because nowadays you really need very sophisticated people to work on the machines, right?
If we don't talk about additive and conventional, then I think somehow we have reached a good level then.
We just talk about impossible objects, in brackets made by additive manufacturing.
Yeah, I also would like to see still some of this excitement. Yeah. Thanks to all of you for taking the time, for having this really fruitful and interesting discussion. Hopefully, and I'm confident, we'll meet each other soon at the AMTC, and I'm really looking forward to continue that discussion. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Thank you.